Sometimes the words we never send find their way home anyway. Tonight, let me tell you the story of a woman, a box of letters, and the lives she changed by mailing the past. Hello, my gentle friend. You've wandered here to the in-between hour, when the world is quieter, and maybe your heart aches for something you can't quite name. Tonight's story is about memories sealed in envelopes, the kind you never meant for anyone to read, until suddenly you wonder if they might be the very thing someone else needs. So get cozy, wrap yourself in a soft blanket or in the hush of your own thoughts, and drift with me to a small town where one woman decided it was time to send the words she never dared to share. It had been 23 years since Evangeline Parker last opened the box. It was tucked in the back corner of her attic, beneath old holiday decorations and a half-finished quilt. She only meant to dust, but her hand found the corner of the lid, and before she knew it, she was on the floor, surrounded by time. Letters, all handwritten, all addressed, none sent. Each envelope carried a name and a piece of her heart. Her sister, her first love, a teacher she never thanked, even one to the father she barely remembered. Some were apologies, some were confessions, some were just memories. That day, the attic felt warmer than usual, like the past had cracked open the window, and the breeze whispered, "It's not too late." Evangeline didn't plan to send them. She simply read a few, then reread them. Then she bought stamps. The first letter went to her sister Martha. They hadn't spoken in 8 years, not since the argument about their mother's will. In the letter, Evangeline wrote nothing about blame, only memories, the sound of their laughter as children, the summer they learned to ride bikes, the way Martha braided her hair the night before prom. No reply came for a week, then 2. Then, one morning, there was a knock on the door, and Martha was standing there with red eyes and a pie. My dear friend, not all letters need a mail truck to travel. Some arrive on doorsteps carried by the weight of longing. Letter number 2 was addressed to Jonah Bennett. First kiss, first heartbreak. They had parted with slammed doors and silence. Evangeline had written the letter a year later, too angry to send it, too tender to throw it away. She mailed it on a Tuesday. A week later, an email appeared. Subject: "You always wrote better than you spoke." They exchanged notes, then calls, then coffee. He was married now with twin daughters, but there was no bitterness, only peace. They laughed, talked about who they'd been, and let go of who they never became together. My dear friend, sometimes closure isn't a slammed door. It's a soft smile and a shared laugh years too late. Mrs. Callahan had been her English teacher, the first person who saw her writing as more than a hobby. Evangeline had written to her after graduation, but never sent it. Now, she did. The reply came a month later, a shaky handwritten note. Mrs. Callahan was 92, living in a care home. She remembered Evangeline and the essay about grief that made her cry. "You were always meant to write," the note said. Evangeline cried, then wrote her back. Sometimes our heroes are still waiting to hear that they mattered. This one was hardest. a man she barely knew, gone since she was 6. But the letter had waited, folded and refolded so many times it was soft at the edges. She wrote about the questions she never asked, the birthdays he missed, the way she used to imagine his voice. She dropped it into a mailbox on a quiet Sunday morning. It didn't need to go anywhere. It just needed to go. Some letters are written not to be read but to be released. She began writing new ones to people she barely knew, the neighbour who always smiled, the nurse who stayed late, the stranger who helped her when she dropped her groceries in the rain. Each letter short, but sincere. She never signed her name, just wrote, "Someone noticed. Thank you." She left them in mailboxes, on windshields, under doors. You see, my dear friend, kindness, it turns out, doesn't need a return address. Soon, something shifted. The mail began to whisper back. A bouquet left on her porch, an unsigned note tucked into her mailbox. "Your letter made me cry in a good way." At the grocery store, someone stopped her. "I don't know if it was you, but your words saved me." The whole town softened. People smiled more, spoke gently, held doors. A quiet magic stirred. What you send into the world sometimes finds its way back in forms you never expected. One morning she sat down and kept writing. Not letters, but stories of love, of regret, of words left unsaid. She wrote the way she had always meant to. Without fear, a publisher found her blog, asked for more. The book came out the next spring, titled "The Letters She Never Sent." It sat in shop windows, in waiting rooms, in labs on park benches, changing people the way her letters once had. Sometimes healing one wound opens the door to heal many. There was one left, addressed to herself. She opened it. Read the words she had once needed to hear. "You did the best you could. You were always worthy, even when you felt invisible." She placed it on the windowsill, let the sun fade the ink, smiled, because some letters were always meant to come home. So if tonight you're carrying words you've never said, write them. Even if you never send them, even if they're just for you, there is power in what we name and peace in letting go. Sleep now, storyteller, and may your dreams be full of soft paper, kind replies, and the courage to speak from the heart. Good night.